Hello and welcome to the Cardone Solutions Podcast. I am your host of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. My name is David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. 9 years on the job for Uncle G. The Cardone Solutions Podcast exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to take the content that Grant's putting out there. 85, if not 90% of what Grant does is 100% free. So I want to make sure that the free content you're getting, that you're taking full advantage of, that you're able to pull out every single juicy nugget, detail, action idea, and then plug it in to enhance, increase measurable results in your sales, in your business, and your life. Now, if the Cardone Solutions Podcast is bringing you value, if you enjoy listening to it, if it's helping you, if it's giving you tools and techniques that you can start implementing right away, it's doing some good for you. Do me a favor. Two things, actually. Number one, make sure that you've subscribed to this on whatever medium you're enjoying podcasts on. And then two, if you hear something that you find to be helpful, relevant, if it helps you, there's a really good chance that it's going to help somebody else as well. So make sure that you share this with other folks. If you hear something, you're like, hey, so-and-so needs to hear that, please make sure that so-and-so actually gets to hear that. And allow me one moment to just take care of another little piece of business, which is who is sponsoring the Cardone Solutions Podcast right now. The Cardone Solutions Podcast is sponsored by Cardone University. This is the #1 sales training program on planet Earth, most likely the solar system, probably even the galaxy. 15 to 30% new business in the first 90 days is a pretty common occurrence inside Cardone University. And right now, the way things are going, you being skilled up and having your game on nice and tight as a sales professional is now significantly more important than it's ever been before. Now, remember a moment ago, I said 85%, if not 90% of what we do here is 100% free. Well, here's a prime example for you. Grant Cardone is given 30 days free access to this program so you can try it out. And actually, go in there and start working on the one thing that you know you got to skill up at right now. Think about it for a second. What could that be? Prospecting? Selling? Closing? Follow-up? Getting better on the phones? Just keeping your head on right? Whatever you just thought of, whatever's popping into your head, whichever one of the things I just listed off is your issue right now, I guarantee you a solution, and I guarantee you real movement in 30 days, and that'll cost you nothing except for some time and attention. So to get access, go to cardonesolutions.com/Cardone U free. That's Cardone, the letter U, free. cardonesolutions.com/Cardone U free. Now, let's get into today's topic. Right now, we're going to debrief and we're going to take a look at Grant's strategy of the week. Every single week, I'm going to come in and one of these podcast episodes is going to be dedicated to looking at pulling out value and giving you some actionable activities that you can do with Grant's strategy of the week. We call them action ideas, okay? So if you've been to a Grant Cardone seminar back in the day, in Grant's workbooks, he would always have these little action ideas. So like things you can do to take what you're learning and put it into action, right? Just because you know something doesn't necessarily mean anything because you have information. The information is not knowledge. Knowledge comes from doing. So can you take this data and put a measurable action on it so that you get more out of it? So today we're going to talk about what everybody else is talking about, which is COVID-19, but more importantly, how do you turn the tide? How do we turn the tide with 10X? So the topic, the theme, the subject, the title, COVID-19, turning the tide with 10X. And I'm going to open it up with a message right from Grant. Quote unquote, you have probably already experienced a slowdown as businesses have been shrinking significantly in most parts of the world. Regrettably, I'm sure you're feeling the effects, and I'm sure you don't like it. In fact, I hope you don't like it, says Grant. And I would encourage you to hate it so much that you are willing to do anything to fight back. Despite the fact that we're enduring a time when many people will suffer, with millions out of work, companies failing, and entire industries to be disappearing. It is also a time to learn and use specific strategies so that you are turning the tide. And this brings me right to Action idea number 1. New companies, products, and even industries are born out of economic challenges. So the first action idea I want you to start thinking with, who are these companies going to be now? Start thinking about what industries, what genres, what brands are going to be able to explode into this. What's going to be on the other side? Because there will be another side. The other side. There will be. That will be there. Okay? So you want to start asking yourself the hard questions, which is this. Do you want to be first in your field right now? Do you want to be victimized by what's happening right now? Would you consider turning yourself into the kind of person who creates a new reality out of the opportunity and rubble of the old? And that last one's the hardest one. Would you consider turning yourself into the kind of person who creates a new reality out of the opportunity and rubble of the old? Which brings me right over to action idea number 2. And I want you to get really, really specific on these. Do you have a new set of problems right now? What change in think will need to happen? And then what new actions and activity levels will you need to take? So remember, we're talking about turning the tide here. So do you have new problems? What change in think will need to happen? And what new actions and activity levels are you going to have to take? So there's good news from Uncle G in the strategy. He says, 1, there are exact and precise actions that you can take to counter any contraction, and contractions are excellent opportunities in which to expand and conquer market share. Which means what? It means it's time to skill up. And right now more than ever, you need to get skilled up. You got to get tight. You got to get your game on. Given the times that we're in right now, it's significantly harder to sell. Is it? Significantly harder to sell your products and services in quantities great enough and at prices high enough to make the business, your business, profitable and viable. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. This is why Grant is given 30 days free Cardone University right now. Because the information inside Cardone will see you through any recession, regardless of how bad or deep or how long it lasts. There are techniques that Grant used to get through 3, not just 1, 3 recessions. And he came out of each one stronger, more capable, and more profitable. So that is the question for you then, is how can you use them at this very moment to advance your position in the market? How do you grab market share from your competitors and then actually take ground in markets that you weren't in before? It's time to start turning the tide and start creating the economy and the success that you want for yourself, for your company, for your family. What to do now, right? Well, now what are we going to do? That's my poor impression of my buddy Michael Cirillo's poor impression of Don Knotts. People become filled with uncertainty and doubt that negatively impacts their ability to make decisions. So think about that for just a moment and how it might apply to you. When people become filled with uncertainty and doubt, it negatively impacts their ability to make a decision. Okay, so these that's for you as a person, but that's also for your customer. Okay, so these game-changing economic times can occasionally require major transitions in our skill sets as well. Particularly when you're following a period of extended expansion, which is what we were just in. And unfortunately for a lot of folks, it's fairly easy to observe when people's motivation and skill sets have been crippled from extended periods of economic expansion. So that brings us to action idea number 3. which would be to use Cardone University right now to give yourself more certainty. Certainty comes from the right information and knowledge followed by right actions. So if you need to be more certain, you need the right information, you need the right knowledge, followed by doing the right things. Which gives us to a warning and a quote, another quote from the strategy. When the market changes and belts tighten, the forces are no longer at your back, but are blowing directly in your face. Every weakness in an organization is greatly magnified when times get tough. Mistakes become even more costly. Every transaction becomes vital, and failure becomes a real possibility for both individuals and companies that aren't able or willing to transition within the new economy that they're facing today. So here's action idea number 4. Where are you weak? I want you to take some time to identify it, confront it, and then handle it. And that could be anything. Let's just say when I said, where are you weak? And you thought closing, would it be a bad idea to get 30 days access to Cardone U and just focus on closing? Getting better at it? So if you find that you're scared right now, if you find that you're confused, you're overwhelmed, or you're angry, or you're hopeless about what to do, you're unsure about whether there's anything you can do, then the way to turn the tide, which is what we've been talking about, is to put 100% of your attention on what you can control. So this is your wake-up call, and it's your moment all at once. Quote from the strategy. Times like these show us how hazardous it is to be tied to or dependent upon the economy. Instead, you want to be in such a powerful position among your group that you are able to take advantage of the existing state of affairs. Does that sound like you? And if not, are you going to allow Grant to show you how to advance your professional mission and your goals? Not just conquer, but dominate there by turning the tide. Which is the final action idea number 5. This is the last one. 3 things you need. The 3 things you need to dominate right now. You need to dominate you need to dominate your competition, and you need to dominate the marketplace. So the 3 things to dominate, it's you, your competition, the marketplace. So regardless of your product, service, idea, and despite a challenging economy, you can be the first and should always strive to be there. You must acquire a position within your company and or career in which you are not susceptible to economic pullbacks, and start thinking in terms of creating your own financial system. We do not want you to ever have to settle for just getting by or have to worry about the condition of your finances, ever. I say this to my clients all the time. You, or will you choose to improve? Will you choose to conquer and prosper? And will you do everything possible to be first? And if you're thinking, I don't even know where to start, then would you let Grant and us show you exactly how to be successful and how to own that powerful position of first? So inside Cardone University, I know I keep coming back to it because it's important and it's vital, and you get 30 days free, so why wouldn't you take advantage of that? You're going to learn the exact actions and the steps you need to take in order to advance yourself, advance your company and your ideas, this is how you will always come out on top. So what did you hear today that you liked? What are you taking with you? Okay, let's just go over the action ideas one more time for good measure. Number one, start thinking about what companies are going to boom out of this, what companies are going to blossom as a result. Okay, problems are opportunities. So there are a tremendous amount of opportunities right now because what? There are a tremendous amount of problems. So number one, what industries are going to boom because of this? What industries are going to be created? Start thinking about that right now. Second, get very, very specific on these three things. Do you have new problems? What changes in think are going to have to happen right now? What new actions and activity levels are you going to have to start taking? Action idea number three is to use Cardone University. You got 30 days free access for crying out loud. Use that to give yourself certainty. Certainty comes from having the right information, having the right knowledge, followed up by the right amounts of actions. Action idea number four, identify where you're weak, handle it. Action idea number five, the three things you need to dominate right now is you, meaning your thinking and your doing. Okay? Your competition, they're thinking for sure, which will impact your doing and allow you to dominate in the third thing, which is the marketplace. This has been the Cardone Solutions Podcast. CardoneSolutions.com/CardoneU free. 30 days free access to that program. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, if you need to talk some of this stuff out, don't hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email. My direct line is 310-777-0352. Email address david@grantcardone.com. And in the words of Uncle G himself, be great because nothing else pays.